So there's 13 families that make up the global syndicate. I think most people that are awake know that. But there's one we don't talk a whole lot about because we've been informed by so many fake patriots that one of those bloodlines, oh no, they're in with Trump. That's that JFK stuff. Yeah, Trump and him, they're in this together, right? No. The Kennedys were one of the 13 families. And Joe Kennedy was not a good man. He was not a good man. You also have to look at the deaths, okay? Because I believe that many of this goes to that whole, it's the wickedness, clearly. And it seems like these people that get a lot of power, money, influence, usually it happens after a sacrifice or somebody's died in their family. Look at Joe Biden's family. His first wife and I think, a couple of daughters, they died in a car accident. And then Beau Biden. Well, the Kennedys have an even worse list than that, which is why they're one of the 13 families that control everything, and most especially America. And then the Clintons. Now, the Clintons don't have like the family, a whole bunch of family members that have died. Because, I mean, they have one daughter, unlike your Kennedys, which Joe and Rose Kennedy, which was JFK's mom and dad, they had 9 kids. Actually, I think they had 11 kids, but one was born stillborn, and then one died shortly after birth. And then the third to the youngest daughter was born mentally handicapped, so Joe had her lobotomized, and then that created her to become a vegetable, so he put her in an institution and told the family to never talk about her again. Yeah, I think that's kind of known. That's not something that's hidden. I think a lot of these things are known about, that there's a curse over the Kennedy family, but it's really not over them. It's over anybody they come in contact with. People just end up dead. Sort of like the Clintons have that long, death list that seems to trail behind them. So I think there's something to be said for the whole, you get that success, that power, because it was after the Kennedys, Joe and Rose Kennedy, also lost a son in a war. World War I, was it maybe? Yeah. They lost, I think so. But he was in an explosion. And then it was shortly after that Joe got his rise to fame. Joe Kennedy wanted very much to be in politics from the time he got here. So the Kennedys arrived here in America maybe 60, 70 years after our Constitution, was formed, the Declaration of Independence. So they were in Boston. And it was hard for them to get into any political positions because our founders were mostly Protestants. And they did not look kindly on the Catholic religion, the Irish Catholic, and I get it, actually. I kind of get it. But I don't agree with any of the denominations or religions. I think that Jesus just wanted us to be between us and the Bible, and Bible studies or fellowship with others, but not all this, somebody tells us what the Bible says. Anyway, I don't think it was about religions and denominations. So, and I don't have any really respect for the Catholic, because they've just made their own rules up. It's like they've made their own Bible. Anyway, I digress. So they had a hard time getting into politics, and Joe, even though he was a multi-billionaire, and he had basically taken over the film industry, interesting enough, but I'll get to that in a minute. But he was involved in bootlegging, and he was the youngest banker ever, 25 years old, and he was the head of a bank. The Kennedys are seen as being what caused the Great Depression, actually. And I've said in videos on my YouTube channel, which, by the way, I'm on a strike now. I'm on a strike on my YouTube channel. My Nurse Bethany channel. So I have another backup channel that's Bethany 7363. I don't post there a lot, but I mean I do when they put a strike on me. So anyway, but I have said that now I lost my train of thought. I just totally lost my train of thought. Oh, I said the bankers are responsible for the Great Depression. It's the Great Reset is the Great Depression is now the Great Reset. That's what it is. The New Deal back during the Great Depression is the Green New Deal now. See, it's just repeating itself. They just change it up a little bit. Great Depression, Great Reset. New Deal, it becomes the Green New Deal. Anyway, back to Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy is he always wanted to be in powerful political positions. So after his son died, then all of a sudden some doors started to open. So it's like you have those sacrifices that happen. I don't know how that works. I'm just saying it seems to be that's how it works. And then some doors open for you. And the more sacrifices you make, the more fame and fortune and power you get. So they first became, P.J. Kennedy was a congressman in Boston. And then one of the Kennedys was a mayor in Boston. And then they've just expanded from there. And Joe Kennedy always had his sights on the presidency, but it ended up being it was going to pass him. So he made sure that his sons would do it, which is how JFK came into it. And a lot of people say that they didn't really, win. I'll just leave it at that, but you can look it up yourself. But as far as Gloria Swanson, so she was a film, she was an actress and producer, and back then it was silent films before they, were talking. It was all just your silent films and some weird ones. Like, I'll have to talk about it in another video, but a one called Male Female, and it was all about the gender stuff, way back then. But so Joe came in, got in business with her, but also got in bed with her because the Kennedys, it's like the woman they marry, it just becomes the birthing person, but they have just affairs. It's like it goes with the territory with the Kennedys. So it was an open secret that these two both being married, but she talked about it later in life, and she wasn't some innocent thing here, because she was actually up to no good too. But she ended up, because of her relationship, business and otherwise, with Joe Kennedy, he left her in $1.5 million debt because of a film. But later on in her life, years after it was over though, she had several other husbands. And she got divorced from this one husband, and she ended up helping Nazi scientists escape from facing trial in Hitler's days. And this would make sense because Kennedy, they don't like Jews. It's been like in newspapers, they've said stuff in their history, which is what hurt Joe from being able to get anywhere politically. But the families like that in general, they've just, as far as there's been some other ones that have said stuff, not recent, but so this is about how Gloria Swanson helped with getting the criminal scientists that were doing their experiments, help them escape. She got a divorce from her fourth husband, and then he became a partner with her in her World War II efforts to aid potential scientist refugees fleeing from behind Nazi lines. Gloria Swanson described herself as a mental vampire, someone with a searching curiosity about how things work and who pursued the possibilities of turning those ideas into reality. In 1939, just looking at my time, 1939, she created multi-prizes in inventions and patents company. This provided a transitional Paris office for the scientists and gave written documentation to authorities guaranteeing jobs for them. So I will finish this, the rest of this about the Kennedys and Gloria Swanson on the flip side.